it is not the best use of my time. And so I have struggled with that a little bit, but trust me, after this week, I just need to go find the person to do that. But another thing that it's not business related, but it's really helped me have more time for the business and my family is not just doing grocery pickup where I order on my app and go pick up the groceries, but deliver it as well. And so I now have that personal shopper who's it's like I'm standing in the grocery store. It's the best thing ever. They ask me, replacements and stuff like that. And then they deliver it right to my house. So I'm not spending an hour in the grocery store. I'm not driving, the 20 minutes to get there and the 20 minutes back. So that's another way outside of business that's really been helpful.
Yeah, I mean that it's funny, like now so many people are doing that, and that that's a game changer. And then you also like Postmates, like using Uber Eats and things to have food delivered, of course. But even tools like Postmates, they can go grab you coffee or grab your dry cleaning or that kind of stuff. It's becoming more and more robust. Like and this is kind of the whole world, right? Is like Amazon was so far ahead of the curve of bring it to your house, and now it's like everything bring it to the house. I wanted to ask you about your assistants. So where did you find your two assistants? And when you first hired them, how often did they work? And like how did you justify paying the money to bring on two assistants?
Initially, I had my very first person was my mom, and so that was an easy start there. But then it transitioned to I reached out to the community at my daughter's school, asking other moms if anyone was looking for a little extra work because the hours were while the kiddos are in school. And so that's how I found my first one. The second one was actually through posting a Google form on my Facebook page and just letting people apply. Ended up being my sister-in-law's best friend, so that was wonderful. But I just got to the point where it just doesn't make sense to try and do it all myself. I just literally cannot do this. And so I finally started with assistants that way. And one is in home, and she comes 3 days a week because she's local to me, and she's there 3 hours on Monday, again on Wednesday and Friday. And then the other one is virtual, and she just happens to be one of my leader's daughters who is doing a lot for the leader. And so she was looking for more hours because she's a college student and her life looks completely different right now as well. And so she works virtually and does all of my recognition and postings on my team page and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that, and I would just say, just for everybody that doesn't have an assistant, type in the chat if you don't have an assistant yet. Type in the chat and say, no assistant, or I don't have one. I'm just curious. Okay, so a fair number of you sheepishly raising my hand. So if you have not yet, I would say that the theme that you just described of your mom, your sister-in-law, like your sister, I think you said your sister-in-law's best friend, like is very common and works very well. Like my sister-in-law still now works with us, and she, she's a mom of 2 kids, and it's amazing that the impact that they can make, and they're looking for just a little bit of something, and of course it'd be like, hey, let's recruit you, and sometimes you could step into that, right? It becomes that, but it's a great way to do that. And I would just say for those of you, it's like, you don't have to think like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hire like a $50,000 a year corporate like secretary person. It's usually like, a $10 an hour intern, college student, mom, like part-timer thing. So I think that's super encouraging. And it sounds like you're still seeing more and more stuff. You need to send them your text replacements list, and then just be like, then they'll say the right thing every single time. I like it. All right, good. What about you, Jenny? Any ideas for us in terms of things you've effectively delegated or, outsourced to people that you want to share?
You said, share what you've done good and share what you suck at. And so I think I have a little bit of both. So good things. In my personal life, I did hire somebody who takes care of cleaning my house.
Nice.
because
Was that a game? So pause on that. Was that a game changer for you?
oh yeah, it was a game changer for my house because to be totally honest, I'm not good at it anyway. So this was a really good move for my household in general. So, but that was huge. I'm not good at it, and I don't like it, and my time is better spent doing something that I'm good at and that I like doing. So that was an easy one. I told you before that I have 3 kids, 16, 14, and 4. And for the most part, the 14 and 16-year-old take over in the evening with bath time and get the little one ready for bed, give her bath, read her a story. She likes that so much better, I think, because she likes to have that time with them. I can wrap up anything that I still need to wrap up. And then, I get to spend that cuddle time with her. So that works out really well. In terms of the business, I used to do a weekly org-wide call for the entire org. I have pulled back from that. We now meet on a monthly basis. It's a little more specific. It's a little more detailed. We do specific trainings, that sort of thing. And that has given the directors under me more responsibility to work within their own personal teams and freed up my time a little bit more. When we do things on an org-wide level, I've finally come to the realization that it doesn't all have to come from me, and that the leaders on the team can also help out. They can jump in. They have areas of expertise. They have different viewpoints. So we've arranged it so that they sort of step up a little bit more and take on some more of the responsibilities. So that's it. So where I'm sucking is that I don't have the assistant yet, but after this day, clearly it's on the to-do list.
I love it. Well, and I think to the idea of training your team, this is one thing. If y'all aren't doing this, just record everything you say, like from hereby declared as of this moment, as anyone who is on this call, as you do trainings, record all of them if you're not already, because the other thing is you can just get them transcribed, and then people, like, if you're afraid if somebody goes like, I'm not sure I trust so and so to lead the month 1 training, but if they have the transcript of your month 1 training, like, a lot of times they'll just follow it. So using those tools I mentioned, Temi, TEMI, and Rev.com to upload your video or your audio, and it'll have it transcribed. The other one is Otter.ai. I don't know if you all use Otter.ai. Otter.ai it transcribes as you talk, so it's just an app that it's like voice text, except it works, and it doesn't cut off. Like, it can go for 40 minutes before it stops. But it'll, if you needed transcribe something, and it's not like I don't want to type it out, and I don't want to record it and then have to upload it and download that, but it's like, if I want to just talk out whatever, a process, and have it immediately documented, Otter.ai does that one. I see a lot of people talking about LastPass. So LastPass is an app that saves your passwords on your computer, right? So you're trying to log into everything, Facebook, your bank, your email, whatever, and it's one centralized password place. I actually use one password is what I use. So you've got LastPass or 1Password. Those are probably 2 of the most common, so that you only need to remember 1 password, and as long as you're logged into that, every time you go log in somewhere, it'll automatically fill in your password, and even your billing address, and all that kind of stuff. So looks like a lot of people are loving LastPass, and some of y'all not heard about it. So and then while we're waiting for Emily, so I'm going to ask Emily, I want to hear from her, but before we do that, for those of you that are watching, I would love for you in the chat to type in your favorite app. Like, if you have a favorite app that does something that's like a game changer, like LastPass, or it looks like a few of you use Otter, just kind of share it right now in the chat and just be like, you have to use care.com because of whatever. Yeah, Loom, Unroll.me, Expensify to throw away receipts, Calendly.com for scheduling calls. Looks like a lot of you are using Loom for screen capture, which is good. Oh, another care.com, hired a nanny from there, so that's great. Oh, I haven't heard of these ones. Lively. Anyways, we'll come back to these in a second. Let's hear from Emily on something that you have effectively delegated or outsourced.
So I only recently hired my first assistant a few weeks ago. I've been told forever and ever that it was a necessity, and I was in denial. I didn't want to spend the extra money, the extra time, whatever, and I just couldn't do it. And then when Judy asked me to be a panelist and talk about delegating, I was like, crap, I think I have to hire an assistant now. So that's where we are. I hired a local high school girl, and thanks to some tips from Melanie Kraft, who's here with me. She's an executive on our team. She hired an assistant well before me, and she was kind of pushing me to do it all along, but she hired an assistant with childcare experience. So thankfully for me, it's a brilliant plan, because if I have her at the house and I need her to do a task that doesn't need my personality, I have her scheduling my parties primarily, but if I need to do something, I can send her to take Ezra to the park or do something to keep him entertained so I don't feel guilty throwing an iPad at him or putting a movie on and having far too much screen time than necessary. But that's been pretty helpful for me. But honestly, I only use my assistant to host in my parties because I have PTSD from going to Facebook jail last summer, and I cannot use a posting service. I just can't wrap my head around it. I can't do it. So I pay an assistant to schedule my posts in my parties. So I was spending about an hour a night doing that myself, and I realized that was my biggest time sucker. I was wasting so much time doing that. But I was thinking, like, it's fine. I'm saving money, not hiring an assistant. I'm just losing an hour of sleep a night. No big deal. And then I started noticing my exhaustion level was getting pretty intense. And finally, over the last few weeks, I kind of got the push to get over the hump and have someone help me out with my party. So that's mostly what I do right now. But my assistant recently lost her other job that she was doing, just a little part-time job in our town. And I think it's God telling me to give her more tasks.
Yeah, once you get onto this, because you know that there's that resistance at first. How would I ever afford this? Is usually like the thing, right? And it's just like somehow it you make more money from it, and you have more peace. Like you're saying, it's like, who cares about money if you're not sleeping, right? Like if you can get an hour a night, like that's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that, and I think once you do get hooked on it, you will definitely want to do more of it for sure. So I want to also, so these are really good, and some of you are also putting just like messages in the chat. So the one last little note of just to wrap us up before we send off to break is, two things with this assistant thing. First of all, to me, this is when you become a business owner. You become a business owner the day you decide to invest in your own business. You become a business owner when you're willing to build the systems, develop the people, develop the processes. And it's like, I mentioned this with the NEDs, but I never want anyone else paying for my assistance because I want to tell them what to do. I need someone who I can say, do this, and it gets done. And I need to be in control of their tasks, and I need them to be, there needs to be clear what they do, how they do it, when they do it, who they're doing it for, and just investing in the business and building an army of people to support my organization. And so that's really, really important. And then, the other thing I just want to make sure is the goal of, for me, the goal of automation and, delegation is not just so it's like, so we can sit back on the beach somewhere and have money show up in the mailbox. like a few of those days would be good, but it's not to get out of doing work. It's to get out of doing the work that other people could do so that you can do the work that only you can do, so that you're spending time with people, you're developing leaders, you're building empires, and you're creating jobs. I mean, frankly, this is one of the coolest things ever, is that you're actually creating jobs. You're stimulating the economy. You're helping people pay off debt. You're helping them pay for their kids' school or buy extra groceries or clothes, and you're giving them a job. Like, you are a job creator, and that is just really awesome. So I just want to make sure that y'all saw that clearly. Judy, I see that you're popped on. Were you going to make an announcement as we head off to break?
I was just going to thank you again, Rory, for a great segment. Automate and delegate. I have to tell you, I learned quite a bit in this segment myself. I'm really excited about everything that was shared here, and I just want to thank Emily, Jenny, and Crystal for sitting on our people today.
Give them a thank you in the chats and the virtual claps. Nice work, ladies. Yeah, and I learned, look at this, I'm learning stuff. I got to republish the whole book now, thanks to text replacements, since I'm the last dope to be on the text replacement train, apparently.
Well, thank you, everybody. We will see you back at 4 o'clock for our final, oh my goodness, say it isn't so, our final session of executive seminar. Rory will go from 4 to 6, and then from 6 to 6:30ish, we'll have Nevena back on joining us for our close of executive seminar. Enjoy your break, everyone. Bye-bye.
What's the matter, honey? Are you okay?